century, an elite organization called the Bilderberg Group has met annually all around the world in total secrecy, behind closed doors and with no official press coverage. It started in 1954 when the world's most powerful people joined forces in the Netherlands at Hotel Bilderberg, where Prince Bernhard, a former Nazi party member, was integral in its formation. Last year it was in Zurich, Switzerland. It was believed that the group discussed how to handle the Arab Spring at that conference. And this year they're meeting in the wealthy city of Chantilly, Virginia, right next to Washington, D.C. The group is comprised of 130 or so of the world's top elites in politics, banking, food, oil, media, and national defense. Some of the most notable attendees have been Ben Bernanke, Bill Clinton, Timothy Geithner, Bill Gates, Tony Blair, and Colin Powell. Others include Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands, Prince Charles, George Soros, and Alan Greenspan. Henry Kissinger and David Rockefeller are integrally involved as members of the Bilderberg Steering Committee, which is responsible for carefully crafting who will be attending the meetings every year. Some have called the Bilderberg Group a harmless think tank or just a discussion group, but people who've been following it for years say there's something much more sinister at the root. They claim that the group gets together to plan world policy for a new world order of global domination at the subjugation of the rest of humanity. Unfortunately, you won't hear much of a peep about the group's dealings or even the existence of it on the corporate media. This could be because the media moguls that have attended are sworn to secrecy. Check out what Rockefeller has said about the media coverage of Bilderberg. In his memoirs, multi-billionaire David Rockefeller said, quote, "Some even believe we're part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a much more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. And if that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I'm proud of it." He also allegedly said that he's grateful to media outlets like the Washington Post, the New York Times, whose magazine directors have attended their meetings and promised to keep it discretionary for almost 40 years, saying it would have been impossible for the group to develop its plan for the new world if it would have been subject to the lights of publicity during all those years. And while the public might not know exactly what's going on there, many people agree that the people who attend the meetings are the world's most powerful movers and shakers. Just take a look at this Drudge poll. It's a poll conducted to ask people what they really think of the Bilderberg Conference. Over half of the people that polled said that the people who attend the conference are the real power masters of the world. 14% say they think it's just a false conspiracy theory, and 35% say it's a little bit of both. Nonetheless, the secret meeting is definitely coming more and more into the public eye, whether the participants want it to or not. Meanwhile, while Bilderberg attendees were questioned by independent journalists about what really goes on there, they completely skirt the issue or even deny having attended in some instances. So what is really going on in these meetings? Well, all weekend I'll be in Chantilly, Virginia, covering the Bilderberg Group to see if we can get a scoop about what the people there are thinking. Thousands are expected to protest, and they'll be there in protest at the conference.
They're a bunch of criminals. They're a bunch of criminals. They've taken over our government. He who makes the money makes the rules. And because these guys make the money, golden rule. It's the old golden rule. Yeah. And because these guys make the money, they control our government, both the Democrats and the Republicans. And it doesn't matter whether Hillary Clinton's in office or George Bush is in office, the same things are going to happen. There are minor differences, but essentially the same thing is going to happen. Well, you should be frightened because these people are controlling our lives. You know, we're no longer in charge of our own lives. Everything we do today is done by. It's like believing in a sense that America from the beginning was supposed to be a democracy. You keep hearing
it's a republic.
Of course, it's a republic. Sure. It's a constitutional republic.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you ask 100 people on the street, what form of government is America supposed to be?
We have a democracy.
98% will tell you it's a democracy.
It's not.
And they don't get this. A democracy, 51% control 49%. It's tyranny of the majority. I wouldn't want to be part of the 49%. In our constitutional republic, 99% of the people couldn't take away the rights of 1%. You have rights because you were born. You had God-given human rights. They're your rights.
Intrinsic rights as a citizen.
Intrinsic rights. And the government can't take them away. You must understand something. We did not go to Iraq to bring freedom to Iraq. We're in Iraq, and we keep talking about promoting democracy. What we're promoting is a one-world government, a new world order. When they use the word democracy, just take that word democracy out and put in New World Order, One World Order, globalization. Put in any of those words in place of democracy. That's what it's about.
But what does
they use democracy as a spin word, because you think we are a democracy and democracy equates to freedom. Democracy does not equate to freedom. Understand that.
And it's the same as their elections. It's all spin.
Exactly. You got it.
What's the ultimate aim? And what does it look like when they get there? If what you say is true and what others say is true, and there's many, many people that believe as you believe, I'm sure you know that, what does it look like when they get there?
Well, I can tell you, I was friends with one of the Rockefeller family, okay? And they were very much behind the Federal Reserve System, the banking, the Council on Foreign Relations, and we were very good friends. And he told me that what they really want to do is have a one-world government without borders. First you have the European Union, the European Constitution,
the EU.
which the European people voted down, by the way, but they're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Now they want the North American
currency.
Union. Right. Then they have the one currency. Now they want to do
They have
the
their
North.
own standing army.
Yep. But now they want a North American Union.
Yeah.
They want, and then what they want to do is bring everybody together under one.
The Amero is there.
The Amero, the currency, exactly.
I didn't know it is there.
And so their plan is to have a government for the world. They want to do it through the UN, right? And have everybody on this earth implanted with an RFID chip.
Do you believe that?
I know that. Then you hear the congressman, the senator, asking the Supreme Court justice how he's going to rule on that in my clip. You think he asked them for no reason? They're already implanting people with chips. The national ID card, which becomes law by May 2008, it's going to have an RFID chip in it. Okay, everything is done in stages. After the RFID chip goes in the card and in your passport, it's going to go into your body. That's what they're going to try and do. There's no question about it. And they're not going to do it through law. They're going to do it because you won't be able to live without it. All your money is going to be in that chip. I think Waco is my tipping point. When I saw what happened to Waco, I said, I'm going full-fledged. This is disgusting. They killed all those people for no reason. There was no need for those people to die and to be killed in that fire and burned to death. That was the most disgusting event. The war in Iraq, a disgusting event. When I heard Rumsfeld talking about shock and awe, let's everybody go home, watch on television shock and awe, as if it was a 4th of July fireworks. There are people under that concrete being killed and maimed, children and women and men dying for no reason. For no reason. You know? I had a friend, one of the Rockefellers, he said to me, Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about? And I said, I think I had conventional thinking. And I said, I think it was about women having equal right to work with men, equal pay, you know. He said, you know what, Aaron, you're an idiot. And he started to laugh at me. I said, what do you mean? He said, you want to know what that was about? I said, tell me. He said, we, the Rockefeller Foundation, financed that women's lib movement. You want to know why? For 2 reasons. Half the population wasn't taxable before. And the second reason is, now the kids go to our schools at an early age, and we mold them. There's no more family at home to take care of the kids. The state becomes the family now, Aaron. You get it? And that's how this country is working. It's run by evil. It's run by evil forces. And people in this country better wake up to the truth and save this country from what's happening.
David Rockefeller, also a member of the CFR, requested that his fellow Bilderberg members include Japanese representatives in the group, but the idea was turned down. He then created the Trilateral Commission, which compromises annual private meetings of some 350 people. Again, top businessmen and corporation executives, media moguls, politicians, and non-governmental organizations. At this time, including the Japanese. The idea was to create a trialogue involving Asia, America, and Europe. US President Jimmy Carter was present at several of its meetings. What the Trilateral is really up to is the creation of a world economic power, exceeding the political government of the nations involved. As managers and creators of the system, they will govern the world. During the 1980 presidential campaign, Ronald Reagan attacked Jimmy Carter by saying that there were 19 trilateralists, including Carter himself, in the administration. Reagan pledged that if he were elected president, he would not stop until he had exposed all of the secrets of the Trilateral Commission. But when Reagan finally became president, he included in his government 28 members of the CFR, 10 Bilderbergers, and at least 10 trilateralists. His vice president was none other than trilateralist George H. Bush. Perhaps that is what President George H. Bush was talking about when, after the Gulf War in 1991, he spoke of a new world order.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind.
What is clearly undeniable is that the most powerful people in the world are indeed accustomed to belonging to one secret society or another. Currently, there are three societies that seem to have a monopoly on influencing global policy from behind the scenes. Skull and Bones, the Council of Foreign Relations, and the Bilderberg Group. According to their critics, they're not different organizations, but the three heads of the same monster that is dead set on dominating the world through control of labor, capital, and land.
It's the beginning of global governance. It was easier, as I said, because of the crisis. And if something has been understood by the layman during this crisis, is that globalization is no more only a topic for lectures and conferences. That's a reality. We need this. And I think everybody had clearly understood that now it's impossible to find a domestic solution to global problem. We're entering now the second phase of this attempt to build some global governance.
Maybe in layman's terms, this is one part of the government lending another part of the government money, which would not lead to long-term confidence once the American people understood the basics a little bit better.
Well, it should be added that we also have a funding cost, and as interest rates go up, we'll have a liability cost as well as an asset cost, so it may or may not be a return to the Treasury.
I just might say that it's possible for a country to have a currency without a trillion-dollar debt.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
So, again, this is, at the level of global governance, something which I trust is of utmost importance. And I would say that we owe this transformation, which again has been prepared. It was overdue that these economies that were obviously systemic at the global level would have a full ownership of this global governance. We have now shipped the baton. The baton is in the hands of a grouping of countries.
It is effectively a bankruptcy of this market fundamentalist belief, and we just have to recognize that something went very wrong, and we need to reformulate our view of how financial markets work. And unless we arrest it, you have a snowball effect. And as you know, the further it goes, the bigger it gets. Financial protectionism, trade protectionism, and a breakdown of the global economy.
This is not only about the Fed, this is about the Bank of England, this is about the Banque Centrale Européenne, European Central Bank, where you got the assets that have gone up, not through sound instruments, but through the files that banks cannot recover anymore.
You mean after Building 7 exploded on 9/11, they can't get the records anymore? How convenient.
It's the whole world system that has to be revalued, and now the system has to be reconstructed on sound basis. I agree with you on accountability, I agree with you on transparency, but this cannot be done only leaving the Wall Street and the Senate and Capitol Hill alone. We need to solve it together. The world, Europe has a role to play, the emergents have a role to play.
The Federal Reserve Bank, Bank of England, European Central Bank, they all report to Bank of International Settlements in Switzerland. And that's another black box, and that's another highly corrupt institution. And again, they're thriving in the darkness of non-accountability and non-transparency.